I formally open the special meeting and welcome you all. And an apology for Councillor David De Vries, which we'll note. And we'll move straight into the debate reports, which is a series of items taking into account the fees and charges register and a number of adopting the valuations and declaration of rates. So with that in mind, we'll move to the fees and charges register, which is item 2.1.1 on page 4. Any questions? Councillor Schilling.
Yes, thank you. It was great to see on page 32 of the report. Sorry, just bear with me while I get my page up. With the swimming pool fees, I'd like to thank Ms Mowen for negotiating with Belgravia to get those reciprocal rights across Europe and Williamstown pools with the Rex. That's fantastic. That's been a grey area of misunderstanding for a number of years. And I'd just like to ask if there will be still the under 16 swim free during the school holidays. Will that still be happening? Thank you.
The answer yes. I heard was yes. Councillor Barrett.
I asked Mr Lago a question earlier today. He may or may not have a response. If he hasn't, I'm prepared to wait.
Yep, Mr Lay.
Through you, Chair. No, the officer that needs to answer that question is away on annual leave at the moment, so we'll have to come back to that.
You are happy with that, Councillor? Thank you.
And through you, Mr Mayor, I did see it, but very late, and I haven't had a chance to follow it up. But I think I know the answer, but I'm not quite 100% yet.
Got us all curious now. Planning. Yeah, okay. All right. Any other questions? Move Councillor Angus and seconded. Oh, Councillor Schilling. Either one wish to speak? Any other comments? If not, all those in favour? Fees and charges? Carried. Next item is on page 40, 2.1.2, the adoption of the annual business plan and budget for 2023-2024, incorporating the long-term financial plan for the financial years 2023-24 to 32-33. Gee. Yes, CEO.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just to remind you that there's a pie chart on your desk, which I also communicated out. It's been put on the system within the time, which is just an addition to make it clear in the operating expenditure, page 29 will be included in that document. And we've also made a small update to the recommendation to recognise in part D. Sorry, it should be in there, Janine. That underlined bit, which is just to recognise that that will be inserted into the document.
Councillor Priest.
Yeah, question through the chair to the CEO. We're talking about this pie chart, the administration costs. That seems to be a huge part of our rates and taxes. Is there any chance that can be alleviated by keeping those costs down, salaries down?
Those administration costs are actually, in terms of comparison and salaries, fairly mid-range within local government. So the only way you can reduce cost, whether it be administration or not, is related to the levels of service that we provide and the services we provide.
Yeah, Mark,
If I can just
Mr.
add to
Slade.
that as well, this is a pie graph at a functional report level. And so what the administration costs is there is including is the cost to operate this governance, these people in the room here right now, the governance. Also, with the full cost attribution that we distribute to all the other services, we can't allocate certain things like rating areas. We can't allocate public liability insurance and the cost of governance. So most of the administration costs are those areas there that we're not able to spread over the rest of the functions, because we have what we call external services and we have internal services. And so what full cost attribution does is to capture IT, accounting, payroll, all those sort of costs, cost this building, and then spread them across on using a driver to then allocate to say, well, the internal services are here to serve the external services from that perspective. Like this building here serves internal services to provide the external services. So that administration cost that's left there behind is the things that we can't allocate out to the rest of the external services under the legislation. Okay.
Thank you for that explanation. Councillor Greatwich?
I just had a comment and a question. The first is just an administrative noting that in the contents it says there's an acknowledgement of country, but that actually isn't in the report, so it just goes straight to from the Mayor. So if we could just perhaps check that that's corrected.
On what page is that one?
So on page 51, there's
50.
contents and it says acknowledgement of country.
So it's
Oh, I see, it's at the bottom there.
It's at the bottom.
Always love to be stand corrected publicly. That's always
Okay,
very
thank you.
But the second, then a question
Yep.
was that noting that the pie chart, there's a lot of chat about the pie chart, that it will be included, it will be publicly available, but I just wonder whether this is something where, I just think it's always great to have something that's really graphic, it's really clear to understand, it sort of breaks it down really simply, whether that's something that we sort of make slightly more publicly available or sort of highlight it, whether it's on the website as a standalone graphic. I know that when you, for a while there, when you got your taxes under one of the federal governments, you get a nice little pie chart showing how many munitions had been purchased with your taxes. I just wonder whether that was something we'd considered.
Do you want me to start?
Oh, Mr. Lays,
No,
you're the
don't-
CEO,
don't
your
trust me.
priority, CEO,
No, no.
okay.
I'm pretty sure I know exactly.
All right, Mr. Lay, go for it.
The first rate notice that goes out, there's an accompanying summary of the business plan, and in that the pie graph is always there. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Angus?
Mayor, I'm happy to move the recommendation and thank the staff and the elected members for, I think, creating a very diligent budget and business plan. And we may spend 16% on administration, we spend 15% on recreation. I think actually it's a very good mix of the way, you know, seeing we're talking about the pie chart, we all understand that. But it does show quite easily where the money is going. And it'd be really nice to see cultural services creep up a bit in a year or three, or one. But I'm happy to move the recommendation and thank everyone for their input.
Moved Councillor Angus and seconded Councillor Greatwich. Councillor Greatwich, do you want to speak any further? Thank you. Any further comments? Councillor Troop?
I was, through you, Mr Mayor, I just was looking at the long-term financial plan, and also I just love, really appreciate the baby on the front, not because it's cute and lovely, but we're actually sending a message to our community that the children now are going to benefit from what we're doing. And that is, it's actually speaking to the message, it's speaking to the whole long-term financial plan. So I think it's really good. Excellent work.
Mr. Lay?
That was thanks to the input from media and comms, by the way, all those pictures.
Councillor Priest.
Yeah, Mr Lay, through the chair to Mr Lay, what is the actual rate going to be?
Through you, Mayor. If we go to the actual agenda, it's on page, the rating area is around page 79, isn't it? Somewhere there. And there's a couple of tables in there. And as we said at the last workshop or the last committee meeting, these two tables that are on page, I'll get them now, 83 and 84. Page 83, we inserted in about the middle of the page there, further to what the LGA actually put out as a pro forma or a template, we put in there what the residential, because most of our ratepayers are residential ratepayers. They pay their bulk of the rates, etc. And in the numbers, they're certainly the biggest number. So you can see part way down, just after halfway, we've got the estimated average increase, including service charges per residential property. So these are for the customers that are ratepayers that are using all the service charges. So they're getting the waste services, they're getting the swims, they get the fixed charge, which everyone does, and their general rates. That's going up by 5.33% from the previous year. This is an average. There will be people below that, and there will be people above it. This is the average.
But our average rate right across the whole of the was 2 point.
On the top part of that table, for general rates only, which is the bulk of people's rates, 3.3%.
Yeah, 3.3.
3.3, the general rates, but then we have service charges.
Yeah, that's right.
And swims that have gone up because of those costs to maintain those services. They run at what it costs to provide that service.
So when we hear other councils talking about their average rate, that 3.3 would be the comparison against other neighbouring councils, or
Through your chair, it depends on the council.
how they...
Some of our neighbours may use that top section of 3.3, but that's not the real rate increase. The real rate increase for residential is 5.33.
Okay, thank you.
And
If they receive all those services.
and most residential ratepayers receive all those services.
Yep, okay. Thank you. Councillor Priest.
Yeah, just to follow up, initially when we were doing the budget, didn't we originally have it, we were going to do it at 3.99 though? And now we're at over 5%, or really near 6%. It's really near 6%.
Through
Mr.
your
Lay,
chair,
yes.
the same area that says now 5.33, during the consultation was 5.99, so we brought that down.
But isn't it still 5.99, or is that for
No, it's 5.33 now. We're able to find some savings in our swims area and our waste area. And also we reduced, because we got more growth through your chair, it was 0.4 when we put the consultation document out. So over that period between the consultation and this final document, the Valuer General found more properties that had houses on them. They found more subdivisions for us. So our busy rates team were putting those on in the background to make sure we had the most up-to-date information. And that provides more revenues because those ratepayers hadn't paid rates before. So they're part of that growth figure. So that's the number of assessments that we had increased over last year was 0.91, where when we did the consultation was 0.4. So because we got more revenue, we're able to put some of the revenue back into the pot, as it were. So in the long-term plan, it made it look a bit better. But we also reduced 3 areas of their rate in the dollar: residential, primary production, and vacant land. Because when we looked at some more analysis and did some more modelling, those are the 3 areas that we're getting hit the most from a point of view of general rates. So let's soften that blow a little bit. And if you remember at the workshop, we did that massive table, and it had there over the last 7 years, through you, Mayor, the actual rates, that their share of rates for each local government category, and that some of them had been growing a little bit. So we pegged those back, so that was back to where it was. So that's why we hit residential, primary production, and vacant land. Vacant land is still a lot higher than it was 7 years ago, but this council's always been in the motto that we'll build a house on it. So, and then you'll be on a lower rate. So, from that perspective, those are the areas that we actually reduced the rate in the dollar. Hence, the residential went from 5.99 because of the service charges reduction we were able to find, and also by reducing the rate in the dollar.
Still is a question.
Yeah, but just follow up. 2 years ago, when we did the rates, we were at 2.40, I think, just approximately. Then we went to 3.75 last year. Now we're at 5.33.
No, I think Look, we're entering to, I'll let you answer that. Just answer that, and then we'll get, I've got a mover in a second, so we'll,
Through you, Chair. When we were looking at those increases you're talking about there, Councillor, that was actually the general rates.
general.
And that's now 3.3.
3.3 is general rate, yes.
Okay. Yeah.
But we must bear in mind too that the ratepayers are suffering out there, and we're putting our council rates up from last year. We are. We're putting them up. And our ratepayers are suffering with all the other increases.
Yeah.
That not just this rate increase, but electricity and gas and food and petrol and...
Well, what I'm going to do now, Councillor Priest, we're entering into debate. I'm going to let the mover in a second to speak, and then we can debate. But I will remind everybody that we workshopped all of this fairly diligently, and this was where we've come to from our workshop. Granted, there was no decisions made then, so if you're going to make some decisions now, well, it changes the whole game plan. So I'll get the mover in a second to speak to the motion.
Thank you, Mayor. I have nothing much more to add, save and except that we have been over all of this before. I concede Councillor Priest's concerns about rising costs across the board. I believe our council rate increases are less than almost all other local governments in South Australia. And I think we are far enough down the track with this business plan and budget to be quite confident that it is what we need to do to maintain our position, to maintain the standard of living that people expect, and notwithstanding, there are people in pain, no question of that. I don't have an answer for that, but that is the way of the world.
And the seconder, you wish to speak? Anyone else wish to speak?
Just to note that we're adding to that pain though that's out there. We're adding to it by increasing our council rates from last year and from the year before. And I think we all majority of us ran on reducing council rates.
I don't think, anyway, we have a motion before us, so I'm going to put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? The motion is carried. Page 108, 2.1.3, the adoption and the valuations for 2023-24 financial year, rating purposes. Page 108. Any questions? Councillor Barrett. Thank you. Move Councillor Barrett. Seconded. Councillor Thompson. Either one wish to speak? Any further comment? All those in favour? Carried. Page 110, the declaration of the differential general rates for 2023-24 financial year on page 110. So different categories across the whole rating. Move Councillor Angus, seconded Councillor Hearn. Either one wish to speak? Any comments? All those in favour? Carried. Page 113. Is the declaration of the fixed charge for the 2023-24 financial year, and that fixed charge of $420 on each separately valued piece of rateable land within the council area. Moved Councillor Hearn, seconded Councillor Greatwich. Either one wish to speak? Any comments? All those in favour? Those against? Carried. Page 115. Which is the declaration of waste collection service charges with the various service charges for the various types of waste collection services which is provided throughout the council area. Moved Councillor Hearn, seconded Councillor Schilling. Either one wish to speak? Any comment? All those in favour? Carried. Page 117, which is the Declaration of Community Wastewater Management Systems, the CWMS rate and service charges for 2023-24, with the various fees for the various areas within the council area. Councillor Priest?
Yeah, just bear with me while I find it.
Question?
I did have, no, it's okay. It's fine. I don't have a question.
Okay, thank you. Moved Councillor Angus and seconded Councillor Evans. Either one wish to speak? Okay. All those in favour? Carried. Declaration of the Regional Landscape Levy for 2023-2024. Remind everyone this is not our levy, this is a landscape levy which we're obligated to pay. Moved Councillor Priest and seconded Councillor Evans. Either one wish to speak? Any further comment? All those in favour? Carried. Page 121, which is the payment of rates for the 2023-24 financial year, with the adoption of the quarterly payment dates for the next financial year. Any questions? Moved Councillor Hearn and seconded Councillor Evans. Either one wish to speak? All those in favour? Carried. Councillors, we now move into a confidential item, which is the CEO's performance review outcomes and remuneration review on page 123.
Question through the chair. Why do we need to go into confidential when we're talking about something that's going to go to the ratepayers anyway?
Because we haven't adopted anything yet.
Oh, okay.
You could change it all. Okay? Yes?
Hang on.
No, just hang on
Thanks,
a sec.
Mr Mayor.
I just,
Obviously, I need to declare a conflict of interests. No, I need to declare it in open.
open council.
Obviously, it relates
Yep.
to my contract, my review outcomes and remuneration requirements. I'll declare the conflict of interest. I'll remain in the meeting to answer any questions, but shall remove myself before any debate commences.
So what I'll look for is someone will move into confidence and the appropriate people will leave the chamber, and then Martin, we can ask any questions relevant to his performance, and that's what it's relevant to at this particular time, any questions with regard to his performance review. And then Martin will remove himself, and then we can talk about the remuneration and other things after he has left the meeting. So someone move, we go into Councillor Schilling and Councillor Priest. All those, Priest, sorry.
It's Councillor Priest.
Priest, yes. Got it. All all those in favour, we're moving to conference. Thank you.